Cure what ails you. Feeling better already, ain't you? Yeah. This is one of those churches, I say once in a while. We get criticized a lot, but they say you're one of those feel-good churches, you know. And I say, yeah, that's right, we are. Thank you. They didn't mean it as a compliment, but I took it as one. I found out the gospel really is good news. If you want to feel bad about good news, I'm not sure. You need help or something. I don't know what's going on. I mean, well, Jeff brought it up. He said something about his performance, and kind of joking. But then he sang that song about Mary Magdalene, I think it is, and so it never makes me think about, Jesus in his first birth. He was born under the law. This is just extra, all right? Don't start my timer yet. He was born under the law, and the first one to cling to him, the first one to hold him, the first one to wrap her arms around him was Mary, his mother. Mary represents purity. Mary represents, she's a Virgin Mary. I mean, she just represents, you just think Mary, you just see flowers bloom, and it's Mary, right? And so, born under the law, the first woman to embrace Jesus was Mary, the Virgin, the pure, the clean. But in the second, the Bible calls it be this born from the dead, the new covenant. Resurrection morning, the very first woman to embrace Jesus under the new covenant is the prostitute. Uh-oh. That'll mess with your religion. Oh, all right. Is everybody good? Man, it just feels good in here. I'm going to have a little fun. Is that all right with you? Somebody prophesied over me one time. It might have been Kirk Haskins. I don't remember exactly, but they said a lot of stuff. But then at the end they said, God's having fun with you. And you're going to have fun with God. So I thought, tonight, not that I don't always, but I'm just going to have fun with God. And you guys...
We'll have fun.
I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm just saying I'm not responsible, all right? Because he's given me some stuff, and man, I just have fun. It's good. I love life with God, and it's an incredible thing just to learn every day and live every day, growing in the knowledge of God, and just being taught by Him to live life as a son of God. And man, I'm telling you, if what you got's just religious and attending church and I don't know, good luck with that, but I'm telling you, there's so much more. You can live life with God and actually have Him train you and teach you and love you into the place where you can live life, in victory, and no longer the mully grubs, and no longer watching the news thinking, oh, coronavirus, all this stuff. Flee with a bunch of that. You know what? Coronavirus can go to hell. And it can take an influenza A, B, C, D, E, all of them with it. Ain't none of them getting on me. I remember, you ain't started my timer yet, right? I remember a story one time. There's this guy, John G. Lake, I've read books about. He's old, way back when. John G. Lake, powerful man of faith. Raised the dead, seen big time stuff. And so that one time, it was a bubonic plague, or is I'm saying that right, or however it was, some kind of bad plague or something, this disease, and everybody's dying, and everybody's sick, and anybody that's still alive ran. So he stayed, and he's healing the sick, and he's caring for the sick, and he's burying the dead, and all this stuff, and so and he's not getting it, right? And it's like highly contagious, and so they said, here finally a ship comes up. I don't remember where they were, some other country somewhere, and a ship finally gets there, and it's full of medical supplies and medical people and doctors, and so they're coming to help and bring relief and all that, and they get there and they find him. and he's digging graves and he's caring for the sick. He's doing all this stuff, you know. And they're like, hey, man, you better get some of this. We brought stuff for precautions, and you better use some of this stuff we brought. And he said, I don't need your stuff. They said, well, how is it that you're doing all this and you don't get sick or you don't get any of this stuff? He said, I got the spirit of the law of life is working in my members, where they said, well, now you better take, right? He said, I'll tell you what you do. You see that guy right there that just died? You see foam coming up out of his mouth? You doctors, you get some of that foam and put it under your microscope, and you'll see, even though that guy's dead, for a certain amount of time, those germs are still alive. They're still living. So he said, you get that foam and you look in your microscope and you see how those germs are alive, all right? You do that. They said, okay, let's do that. And he said, all right, we'll take the same foam and we're going to put it in my hand, and in my hand you're going to look at it under your microscope. So the foam they looked at first, live and well, whatever that looks like under a microscope, I don't know. And so then the next time they got his, put it in his hand, every one of them did.
Amen. Amen.
I'm just saying that's what we have access to if we'll just believe. Oh boy. I'm telling you, the devil is worried that there's a move of people coming in the world, it ain't just here, that are no longer satisfied with just being religious, no longer satisfied with just going to church and working on their behavior. There's people that are hungry. And there's people that are willing to forsake whatever just to become who God says they are and live life with God and enforce the kingdom in the earth like God originally intended. And the devil don't care if you get saved. He's going to lose in eternity anyway. He doesn't give a hoot about what happens to you in eternity. He don't mind if you get saved. He don't mind if you go to church. He will bankrupt hell and do everything in his power to keep you from finding out who you are. His whole focus is try to keep you in a religious mindset, in the mindset of fallen man, so that you can just live life as a normal old... All right, you probably should have started my timer already. Here's what I think about talking about, because I'm thinking about talking. I've been just chewing on this all day, really, if not longer. But you've been talking. Hey, they're all right. What are you doing, girl? Come on in here. Get close to the fire. I don't mind them youngins. I like youngins. I think about life. Me and Bon, we say it all the time. Everybody in here, we would all say that our life has been changed by this understanding of what grace really is, and the new covenant of grace, and the gift of righteousness, right? I mean, we can all say, wow, this is like opened my eyes, and I read the Bible differently. I actually can see, it's incredible what this has done for our life, right? And so we say that a lot. We use the word life a lot, and kind of what we mean by that is like the dates, you know, my life. 1977 when I was born, and my lifespan be to like almost 2100, you know. And so I would think of it as, that's my life right there, you know. We think of it in those terms and in that way. You say, my life has changed, right? But I want to think of it in a little bit of different, maybe give you some perspective tonight, or give you a different way of looking at it, as life as in not just your span of time here that you spent, but as it's actually something that you possess. It's something that we've been given as a gift. We actually possess this stuff. This, there's no word for it. Substance. This, we actually want, well, let me just read some. Let me read you some stuff. I might even actually have it. Well, I don't really have notes, but I did mark a couple of scriptures, so we're in trouble. Listen to this. This is Romans 8:11. You've heard me refer to this before. This is Romans 8:11. I think I got the Amplified here. It says this, and if the Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. Let's not just read over this stuff because we've heard it so many times. It says, if the Spirit of Him, we know who Him is, right? I mean, if the Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you, He who raised Christ Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through His Spirit who lives in you. Alright? He's giving life. It's like a gift. It's something He's giving you. Yes, when we believed in Jesus, because of the cross and the resurrection, He took all our sin, gave us His righteousness. What happened there is now He took what separated us. He took what disqualified us and put it on someone else, and then what qualified Him for it, He put that on us. So now we're clean. We're made right with God. We're qualified now for this Spirit, right? Did He say the same Spirit that rose Jesus up out of the grave now dwells inside of you? So the same Spirit of Him that rose Jesus from the grave now dwells inside of you. And because His Spirit is now inside of you, He gives you something. Let's not just quit there. He gives you something. He gives you life. Now we think, okay, that means my life span time, my life's changed my life. Don't think of it as a span of time. He's giving you something. There's this something. It's something that you can possess. I think of it as in the garden, right? The enemy God said, don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from it, you'll surely die, right? Well, you know the story. They ate it, right? But did they fall over dead? What did He mean by that? The life that you possess, the life that's in you, will no longer be in you if you eat from that tree, because your sin happened and now you're disqualified from the Spirit to be alive inside of you, and that's what gives you this possession, this life. So when the opposite of life would be death. The opposite of life would be death, right? It's not a trick. The opposite of life is death. And I don't mean death as far as your time span ends. I mean death is like, it's also something that you can possess. It's like, it's what caused, see, we didn't have it before. So because now that's what we have, now we open the door for sickness and disease and you know sickness and disease is just like installments of death, like little payments at a time. You know, you can get it's just a little degrees of death. That's the way I look at it. It's just, you know, we didn't have any of that before. Are you with me? So I'm not thinking death is something you can possess. You possessed it. You were born with it because of Adam. Right? Romans 5. You can read all that. Because of one man's disobedience, death reigned through the one. See, we think of dying and the end of our time and all that. You gotta think bigger than that. You possess something because Adam ate from the wrong tree, and that thing that you possessed was producing fruit in our lives, and we were living according to that. But now, because of who Jesus is and what Jesus accomplished and all that He did, He put the new Spirit. He cleaned me, so now the rightful owner, the Spirit of Him, could now take up residence inside of me, and with Him I get this gift called life. It's something that I possess now, and I can live from that place with that substance instead of the substance of death that I possessed before, and I can now live from the fruit of life in me instead of the fruit of death in me. Yeah, listen to this. Listen to this. Man, there's a lot of it. Man, I could.
Tell us more.
There's a lot for this. All right, listen to this. John 10:10, you know this one. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Right? That's the fruit of the death of sin. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come so that you might have. Have. I looked up that word have. You know what it means? To hold on. You're holding it. You're holding it. It's not a span of time. It's something that you now, I have come that you might have this stuff. This is amplified as well, I think. It says this. The thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they might have life and have it in abundance. Parentheses, you know how Amplified does? To the full till it overflows. I've come that they're going to get their stuff back. And they're going to have so much of this stuff that they're not just going to be full of it, it's going to overflow. See, this is the place that Jesus lived. He was so full of this substance that we had lost. Did he say, the Son of Man came for this reason, to seek and to save that which was lost? Huh. Oh boy. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever would believe in Him would not perish but have. Have? As in something you possess? As in something you're carrying? It's something that you have? You possess this stuff? I don't mean that irreverently. I don't know what to call it. It's something. We have this. I've come that you might have life and have so much of it that it's running out of you. This is where Jesus lived. He walked through His day, every day, and anywhere He saw the fruit of death operating in people's lives, He just had life. I mean, He just had it in Him. And He couldn't help it. I mean, everywhere He went, He diffused death and undid death. The thief came with all this other stuff, and the fruit of it is here, but I've come and I have this life in me, and it trumps death every single time. He just walked up to somebody. He didn't have no specific prayers. He didn't have no fancy prayers. He'd just say, be clean. He'd just say, get up and walk. He didn't say, okay, I need your knee joints and your ligaments or here comes the blind man. He said, okay, I need your optical nerves and your all this. You got to bite them to. None of that. You know what he had? Life. And it flowed out of him. You know, the Bible refers to like living water. You know, he said, if whoever drinks this water, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. You know, water it like represents water that's like a river or it's a stream or it's moving, flowing. It's like alive. But water that's just still, no flowing in, no flowing out. It's just like a pond or a puddle or something. There's no movement in that. It gets stagnant and it gets bugs and it's not. He's saying moving water. It's like it's alive. He's saying, if you drink this water, there's going to be life in you, and it's going to flow out of you, and everywhere you see death, you're just going to have the remedy, you're going to have the answer. And he said, John 6, I think it is. John 6, I think it is. He said this. Let me look it up. I had it earlier. Oh, this is so good. John 6:63. This is the New Living Translation. Jesus talking. He said, the Spirit alone gives life. You know I'm not smart enough to put all this together, right? The Spirit alone gives life. Human effort accomplishes nothing. And the very words I have spoken to you are spirit and life. Jesus said, the words that I have spoken are spirit and life. I found this verse. It said in 1 John 4, I believe it is, as He is, so are we in this world. Well, if the words that He's speaking are spirit and life, how is it that this river is going to flow out of us? How is it that this abundant life is going to be? The words that I speak are spirit. That means the words that I speak have the capacity to contain life in them. What did it say in Proverbs? Death and life. Death. Now I'm not talking about the end of... Are you getting my perspective on this yet? I'm not talking about the end of your time span, death. I'm talking about what... There's a thing that you have access to because of Adam. There's a thing you have access to because of Jesus. Either one, he's saying. Death and life are in the power of your tongue. Whose tongue? I told you I was going to have fun tonight. Let's see. Is there any more? Is there any more? Oh, there's a bunch, ain't there? I could get a bunch of them on this deal, but I was saying, if we realize what we possess, if we realize what's been given to us as a gift, this substance, this power, and it's actually active. He said you're going to have so much of it that it's going to overflow. You're going to have more of it than you need. That means it's going to run off of you onto other people. How's that going to happen? It's going to happen right here. That means we have the opportunity to be able to speak life. See, we say all this stuff so much that it just kind of... We have the opportunity to speak life. What does that actually mean? What is life? Don't just say, it's my time span. We have the opportunity, I have the privilege to speak life. Oh boy, are you getting this? We have the opportunity to speak this, when we speak, this substance can be released. And what does it produce? Produces the kingdom. It produces heaven. It produces life. Life consists of the absence of death, the absence of sickness, the absence of disease. He's saying it's a contrast when he said in John 10, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But you see, as a contrast, you might as well say, I came to do the opposite of that. Life is the opposite of that. So whatever the opposite of stealing, killing, and destroying, you have the remedy inside of you. And you have the opportunity to make a withdrawal. It's kind of like this. If you had $1 million down here at Southern Trust in the bank account, and it's sitting there, and your name's on the bank account, but you never knew it, and you were never told, and you never went down there and made a withdrawal, you die a millionaire. Well, this life I'm talking about, $1 million cannot even come close to comparing. I know people that would give $1 million today for their health. We possess this. And it would be a sad day for me to think that we went through our whole lives and never made a withdrawal. Never realized and understood what it is that we actually have and have been entrusted with and been given this gift of. I now have the opportunity to speak life, which is the language from my hometown. You follow me? I'm a dual citizen. I can speak life. And when I speak, my words are spirit and they produce life in you. That means I can, whatever, I can just speak life. It can be that simple. I just speak life to you. It can be more. If I know specifics, I can speak life in whatever way I see fit. Whatever. I have this. I'm not producing it. I didn't do anything to get it. But my goodness, we need to know that we have it. Or else we'll just say, well, it doesn't matter what you say. And we just go on. I could fill this place 100 times over with born-again believers that have never learned anything other than pray this prayer, repeat after me, and you're going to go to heaven one day. But the devil's going to kick you around until then. And we just say whatever, and we just talk the same way that we always talked before. I'm sick. If I say I'm sick, is that speaking life or speaking death? It's rocket science, I know. Now I can speak life. I can speak life over my own self. I can make a withdrawal at any time I want. I speak life because the Spirit of Him, the same Spirit that rose Jesus up out of the grave is living inside of me. I don't think we have a power problem. I think we have a knowledge problem. So I'm just telling you, I got life and I get the opportunity to speak life. And if you don't want life, if you like your sickness and disease and you want to hold on to that stuff and whatever death is producing, you better get away from me because I'm not holding on to it no more. Didn't Jesus say that those that believe in my name, these signs shall follow those that believe in my name? Did He say that? Mark 16, they shall speak with new tongues. Now I'm not saying that it don't mean born again believers can speak in tongues. I'm not saying it don't mean that. But I'm saying that maybe it means more than that. Maybe it means those that actually believe in my name, that receive of my Spirit, take a hold of this gift of life, they're going to all of a sudden find themselves speaking differently than they used to speak. Yeah. They're going to understand that there's a sword in their mouth and they possess power, and whatever they say, whether it be death or whether it be life, is going to produce fruit. And you have the opportunity to speak into people's lives and speak into people's bodies and speak into people's situations. Oh Lord, if we only could understand what it is that we possess. Life. I got some of it. I got more of it than I know probably still, but I'm going to keep on learning it. I got life. I'm not talking about a date dash a date. I'm talking about it's some kind of substance that I possess, and it's inside of me, and the Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead gave it to me, and now He's going to spend the rest of my life teaching me how to use it. So I just bless you. Come on, that's speaking life. I bless you. I love you. You're awesome. You're beautiful. I mean, you see how easy it is? I mean, you guys...
Well, you're handsome.
Oh, thank you. She's getting it. Sometimes it might be Romans 4, speaking things that be not. Come on, you see what I'm saying? Your words. Now listen, I'm not putting this on you as a work and condemnation and oh my gosh, how am I going to ever... Because every piece of truth, the enemy will try to flare up around it and get people to abuse it. We'll all say, well, now wait, I can hear somebody saying, not you guys, probably online, they're saying, well, now wait a minute, are you saying this name it, claim it business? Is that what I'm saying?